Hey, it's Big V and we're talking teams. Today we're going to talk about why trust is so critical for a successful team in working together. So what is trust? And how do we gain it inside of our businesses? There's lots of books written about it. There's a podcast, there's audio books, you can Google it. Trust is a key component. And if you have it, you know you have it. And when you don't have it, you also know that it doesn't exist. One of my favorite authors and a good friend is a man by the name of David Horsager. David Horsager has spent his life studying the elements of trust. His life work, his books, his training, his leadership courses, all are on trust. He says that there are 8 elements of trust, and that if you have dysfunction in your business, in your government, in your family, or in your life, it's because of lack of one of the 8 elements of trust. There are 8 C's, and I'll just tell you what they are, but I encourage you to buy the book. Download The Trust Edge or The Trusted Leader, both phenomenal books by David Horsager. In The Trust Edge, he talks about the 8 things. They're clarity, compassion, character, competency, commitment, connection, contribution, and consistency. Each of those elements of trust will make all the difference in the world. As you read the book, he goes through each one of them and shows you how to develop consistency and clarity in trust in your life and in your business. At Workman Success Systems, we began all trust discussions with our core values, a series of core values that are on the wall that hang in our office, and a plaque that every new employee is given when they're onboarded at Workman Success Systems tell you how important our core values are. In each meeting, when we have a Monday meeting, we get together as a team and everybody talks about what they have going on, wins and successes. They celebrate, highlight, and call people out for doing a great job for something. And then there's 2 other pieces of our Monday morning meeting that are non-negotiable. One of our employees chooses one of our core values and talks about what it means to them. It's interesting how what we thought a core value meant sometimes means something very different to the people that work for it, and it's always interesting to see how they apply the core values to their own understanding. The other thing we do is we quote and we go over one of Og Mandino's 10 scrolls in The Greatest Salesman in the World. An employee talks about how they're going to use that scroll in their life or in their business. In coaching high-performing teams, I've noticed they all have this concept of creating core values in common. If they don't, we start with it. Christy Buck's team, who I watched go from $250,000 a year in gross closed income to over $3.5 million in GCI, will tell you that the fundamental principles that drive her team's success are directly related to her core values. Whether it's Lee Tessier, who's grown from a small team to a big team. When you walk in his wall, the core values are brilliantly displayed in the background. Jeff Bebach in Calabasas, California, when we were developing his core values as a team, he wanted to simplify the core values. And when he said what they were, I didn't get it. He said, we're going to do the 4 backs. I'm like, the what? He says, yeah, the 4 backs. I says, you're going to have to give me more context. He says, we have our clients back. We have our communities back. We have our teams back. We have our families back. The 4 backs. I love that. It sounds like be back, but it's be back. The 4 backs are their core values. You see, establishing a set of core values, then hiring to those core values and firing to those core values creates the basis in a work environment where we know we're all working together for the same thing on a set of values that matter. And that's where trust begins. Trust starts by getting on the same page. When Dave Horsager talks about clarity, he talks about clearly defining roles, clearly defining goals, clearly defining what it is we're working towards together. When we have clarity, we have trust. When you have ambiguity or confusion, it ends up demonstrating itself or showing itself as a lack of trust. The next piece in a core value, I'll give you an example of one of our core values. A core value we have is we persist until we succeed. Now that's an interesting core value, but let me show you how we use it to create trust in our team. If you are a real estate team and you have buyer's agents, you'll hear team leaders say things like this, my agents never follow up. They can't convert like I convert. So how do we use our core values to deal with that problem inside of a team? Well, I would go to the core value of we persist until we succeed, and I would pull up their lead tracker. If we persist until we succeed, that means when a lead comes in, we follow up with them. We don't just follow up with them, we follow up with them until they file a restraining order. We follow up with them until they buy or tell us to die. We follow up with leads. You don't let them go. People don't reject you. They reject the concept of you, and they think you want to sell them something. But when they understand you just want to serve, you just want to help their family, hey, whether they use you or not, if they know you want to serve, you follow up with a different level of energy because you care. And so we persist until we succeed. And if we hire and fire to our core values and we look at our lead tracker and we can see that the agent isn't following the A and B and C lead follow-up program, we know that they're not in adherence to the core value of we persist until we succeed. When they leave an open house early, did they persist until they succeeded? When they give up on a buyer who has struggles finding a home, are we persisting till we succeed? When we don't show up for a daily huddle, or we won't prospect, or we don't do our DSH, our daily success habits, the core value being violated is, did we persist until we succeed? When we set core values, we hire to those core values, we fire to the core values, and we use the core values to bring trust back into the business, that eliminates the dysfunction of lack of trust. Core values are everything. You either have them or you don't. If your team members can't articulate your core values and talk about what they mean, if you don't have them prominently displayed so they can see them and be reminded of them daily, then they're probably more like core wishes. Do you want core values or do you want core wishes? Do you want trust in your business or do you want lack of trust? It doesn't matter to me, but it should matter to you. Be intentional at establishing trust in your business. Read books that help you eliminate the 8 dysfunctions of trust or the 8 key elements of trust as clearly described in David Horsager's books and his life's work. Trust is something you can have. And when you have trust, it creates freedom, because it gives you the ability as the leader to delegate and to let things go. If you struggle letting things go back and look at these dysfunctions, look at the elements of trust in your business, and one by one, let's work together to eliminate them. There's so many opportunities that are out there. Why is trust important to a team? It's the only thing that's important, because without trust, you will fail. You'll have high turnover, you'll have high stress, your clients won't be well served, you won't convert leads. Trust is everything. If your team has dysfunction, look at the elements of trust. If you want to know how to build your core values, I'd like to give you a couple of tools that we use just because you watch this video. Just click in the link below in the description. I'm going to give you the worksheet we use in establishing our core values, and I'd like to share with you the core values we use at Workman Success. Good luck in establishing your core values, and focus on the element of trust in every area of your life and your business, and you will be successful.